Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. La ilaha illallah. Hasbunallah, ni'mal wakil, ni'mal mawlahi, ni'mal nasir. ربنا لا تزغ قلوبنا بعد إذ هديتنا وهب لنا من لدنك رحمة إنك أنت الوهاب. Assalamu alaikum. This is a video which lacks preparation. There's a few ideas in my mind as the day progressed, but I was preoccupied with other things, and I've forgotten much of the points that I wanted to make. One thing that's in my mind at the moment is a verse which I actually allowed in the book 3 as I was editing it. It was at the time when Ian Brown released The World Is Yours album. And in this album he talks about the slave trade, and he talks about the Nazis stealing all the paintings in the Vatican, hoarding it all. And one of the things he said was the first slave ship, they named it Jesus. After all, the first slave ship, they named it Jesus. Now, I have a negative aspect on that. I'm very negative about that verse. But what we know is money is the root of all evil, and that I first heard that quote was when I was writing on Ian Brown's forum extensively. I was searching him out because his observations in his music and his solo career was almost as if it was directed towards me, and meant a lot to me. And I stopped listening to it now. I'm more into urban music, just as he is. I'm into R&B and hip hop, Indian music, and all that. Really, that's what I listen to. I listen to my own stuff as well. I listen to my own stuff every day because I think there's a niche for it. Definitely a niche for that sort of music. Some music needs to be repetitive to progress, and especially in the car. Music heard in the car is always a joy compared to listening to it on stereo, as things are moving faster around here as you're driving, and as music progresses into a chorus or into a climax or anything like that. And music in the car is joyful because the bass is so great and everything. Whereas my music, it's quite temperamental. It doesn't play well on certain speakers, and you have to tweak it quite a lot to get the right sound quality for it. And it's not been mastered either. But on headphones, there's a nice feeling, and it's nice tracks. It's quite addictive for me. And anyway, let's return to the point. The first slave ship, they named it Jesus. Is that a funny thing, or is that trying to be funny, or is that trying to be which Jesus are they on about? Are they talking about the Messiah, son of David, or Messiah, son of Mary? There's two Messiahs, as we know. Some thought Cyrus was a Messiah, and that was also an observation through the works of the Messiah, son of David, who wrote in English, which I wrote in English. I wrote most of that. I wrote all of it, really. The history written by the Victor. But what was I going to say? I talked to you yesterday about Paymasters and slave masters, and how when the Europeans went to Africa, they decided to change the way they traded by saying if you give, you will be paid, and if you pay, you will receive. And how this led to the banking cartel and usurious banking, and how fractional reserve deposits were used to loan out extensive amounts of money to generate false wealth, and how people were told either get an education to get a job and get a good job, or have some resources to sell. And it's a difficult world because people were taught that they have to work till 60 to retire. They're thrown into work. It was cruel and really bitter, and it's still going on right now as they fly around talking about human rights. When the basis they build their civilization and their ideas is money the root of all evil. How are you supposed to have human rights when you got money, when you serve money instead of God? And instead of a kingdom of God, there's a new world order. And if there was a one world currency, a one world empire, a one world currency, then whose face would it be on? There? Would it be the face of my face, which resembles Jesus, son of Mary? Or would it be the face of Charles, who looks like a devil? Most times, distorted and contorted face. The white supremacists are twisting their words to say that the one world currency and the one world empire are their inventions and their ideas. But when the kingdom of God will be established, then whose currency will be on, whose face will be on the currency? If there was one currency in the world, should there be one currency in the world? No, I don't think there should be. I think in the kingdom of God, if you give, you receive. So what are the Africans given? They're given all the metal in the world. They're given all the metal in the world for cars, for industries, for metal technology, all the industries. What does they receive? Payment, one-off payment of their product. Instead, they have no receivership on the product or where it come from or how much other people are made. Instead, the taxation, the United Nation states take over the taxation and the money generated from their resources. And in the past, the cruelty of the colonialists was such that they would kill kings, they would kill the kingdom, in order for them to exploit the resources of that country. And that's what the French have done. That's what the French Revolution has done. It's replaced what was a kingdom, which it was a kingdom before, and then it became an order. But instead of serving God, they're the Freemasons and they worship devils. That's what Freemasons mean. And they serve money. And they go around talking about money the root of all evil. Now, if money is the root of all evil, should we get the root of all evil is money, then should we get rid of money? When money was very important in the past. Very important. Very, very important, but it's not important anymore. When a person's life, money was important. But now it's just become a seduction and a power craze, tyranny. Power mad people everywhere. MashaAllah. Even if they're speculative economy on gold, because they sell their souls for pieces of gold, in weight of gold, they see gold in front of themselves. because they sell their souls, even if they think gold is precious, even if they do, water is still more precious than gold to people. Look at oil. Oil comes from natural fossilization of natural living creatures, and the creation, and it makes oil. Oil is far more wealthier than the gold. But look at what's happened in Iraq. Why has the gold prices all of a sudden increased after the war in Iraq, or during the war in Iraq? Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. La ilaha illallah wahdahu la sharika la lahul mulku lahul hamdu yuhyi wa yumiitu wa huwa ala kulli shay'in qadir. Astaghfirullah. Astaghfirullah, astaghfirullah, astaghfirullah. I'll leave it there. There's many things right now about the white supremacists that they've done, and evil Freemasons, and the Illuminati and the Zionist elite. When the promised land, when the Messiah leads us to the promised land, inshallah, from then on, they won't have anything to think about, inshallah, because history will be the end of history, as they said, as that crude Japanese name tried to say. They're not doing anything. They're just borrowing and stealing and copying and borrowing, stealing, and happiness can either beg, steal, or borrow. Communists beg, Nazis and fascism steal, capitalists borrow. Look how much borrowing going on right now in these banks. Goodwill to all humans, happiness to all God's children, peace to all my brothers and sisters. Assalamu alaikum.